Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. Today's story is about revenge. Opie's wife left him for a high school dropout affair partner who was broke as a joke. Now, Opie is living his best life after he got a promotion at his job, and his wife is now begging for him to take her back. In today's second story, Opie's girlfriend is begging for mercy after he kicked her out when finding out she still has feelings for her ex. Now, let's get into today's stories. I was with a girl for a year and a half. She fell head over heels for me while I wasn't even looking for any kind of a relationship. I approached the whole situation casually. But before anything even began, I told her not to expect anything serious from me because I was not the relationship type due to bad experiences in the past. Yes, infidelity. But we kept seeing each other and she kept pushing and pushing for a commitment. I really started to like her personality, silly me. And after 3 months of fooling around, I decided to give the relationship a try. She was from a different town about an hour away, but she would spend every weekend holiday and vacation with me at my place. When we met, I was a CEO and project leader of a company. Some other fellas and I tried to build from the ground up. But the owner, the boss, unfortunately wasn't able to secure enough funds for us to continue working on it. Despite the fact that we were 2 to 3 months away from putting the product on the market. I'm from an area, a country in Europe where jobs are really hard to come by. But nevertheless, I applied for everything I was qualified for. I didn't care. I just needed a job. I got quite a few interviews but no luck actually securing a job. This went on for 6 months. Of course, the fact that I didn't have a job made us both a bit uneasy, but I really didn't get a feeling that it was affecting our relationship at all. At the beginning of this year in January, I had a meeting with my counselor at the Unemployment Bureau. She asked me if I wanted to attend some courses where they teach me to code without hesitation. I said yes. Not only would I be able to get a job, but I wouldn't need to worry about employment for the rest of my life. I applied and a few days later I found out that they accepted me. I don't know what their criteria was, but I knew that they didn't want to take just anyone and I was ecstatic. But something was off a few days prior. I started to notice her being kind of weird, cold, unattentive. I knew something was amiss. She was starting fights over nothing. I couldn't make sense of it at the time. In one of the arguments we had, I said, "Look, everything is going to be fine. Now I'll learn to code and after a few months we'll be set for life." And she responded with something along the lines of, "Who cares? You're going to fail miserably anyways." Who? That was weird, I said to myself, but I shrugged it off as her being in one of her bad mood swings. Didn't think much about it at the time. Black small square, as you might have figured out by now. There was someone else in the picture. A week later she dumped me for her coworker, a high school dropout working a manufacturing job. I was beyond shook. I sat in my pain for the next 3 months. But then it was high time for me to stop feeling sorry for myself as I had started with my classes. COVID postponed the whole thing a bit and I had a lot of work to do since I had never ever seen code before in my life. Now, mind you, these courses were Microsoft courses and the exams we were studying for were Microsoft exams for which they only gave us 3 months of time counting down from the last lecture of each course. So I had my work cut out for me. These kinds of exams are usually taken by people who have a degree in computer science or at least employed programmers for the last few years. One day I got home from my classes and opened my laptop. I read the book and did some exercises until like 1 Amy was drained, and the more I was looking into it, the less I understood. But at least I got started. I went to bed tossing and turning and thought to myself, what in the hell did I get myself into? I will never pass this stuff. Then out of nowhere, I heard those words in the back of my head from when she was cheating on me with the other guy. Who cares? You're gonna fail miserably anyways. I lit up like a Christmas tree, got back up and continued to code until 4 in the morning. Every time I was exhausted and about to lose it from all the new information. I remembered those words, and it was more than enough to keep me going today. My fellow betrayed. I passed the first Microsoft programming exam, and I have already been studying for the second one for the last 2 months. A totally different programming language which I plan to take and pass as well. Like the title says, sometimes the much-needed motivation comes from a strange place. I just wanted to share this with people who can relate in some way to the story, as I haven't told anyone else yet. Update. It's been a little over a year since my first and last open topic on this subreddit. At this opportunity, I'd like to thank every single one of you for your support and your encouraging words. At the end of each year, I like to take some time for myself and look back on the year. Therefore, I decided to write other posts to this community since it has been so helpful and encouraging to me in the past. Hopefully, it will inspire even one person going through the same turmoil and hurt I went through almost 2 years ago. So what happened since my last post? I got my first software developer gig at the very beginning of the year. The very first company I sent my CV to decided to hire me. Not long after my original post, I started work in the beginning of January this year. My initial contract was only for 6 months. Understandably, the company wanted to make sure that they didn't take on board a cat in the bag, and I was eager to start my career. So they allowed me to work from home. Although the offices were only a 3-minute drive from my place. I decided to make sure that I took full advantage of the opportunity in order to display to the whole world who I was and what I was capable of. After about 3 months on the job, I was having a Skype call with the lead tech of the software we were developing. He was not a member of the company but was a private contractor. This guy was one of the most respected developers in the whole country and had been working for himself for the past decade. Toward the end of our conversation, he said, "Hey, do you work on any projects for yourself?" I responded with, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, I have a lot of clients and they are all looking for software developers. You've got some real talent. So let me know if you're interested. I can recommend you to them." I said, "Well, not right now. I have a non-compete clause in my contract, but that contract will expire in the summer and I can hopefully renegotiate with my company to take the clause out." He replied, "Do that and then notify me." Black small square. Thus, at the end of 6 months, the CEO of the company called me. He said that they were ecstatic with my work ethic and my potential and that they would like to extend my contract. I said, "Sure, I'm interested." I mentioned that I wanted my non-compete clause out of my next contract and he responded with, "Well, I'll have to check up with the owner first on that." He then proceeded to tell me the salary they were prepared to offer me in our new deal. I immediately knew I was worth more than that in my mind. I was like, "You are absolutely insane if you think I will sign that." But I responded by saying I'll get back to you. I could hear in his voice that